Thank you for taking time to watch this video about extending the promises. You know, we had a great campaign 3 years ago, standing on the promises, securing the next century, and now we're laying out the opportunity of extending the promises for the start of a new century. So for everything that has been, thanks, and for all that will be, we're saying yes to extending the promises. So in the Standing on the Promises, we completed a $4.2 million project together with a $2 million project, a total $6.2 million project. We completed the HVAC for the heat and air conditioning for the historic sanctuary. We replaced 100-year-old pipes and electrical. We put in firewalls and fire doors, etc., and refurbished the old elevator, and all of those things that went with that. And together with that, we built a new mission center, a brand new home for the food pantry. There it is. We're glad for that. It's really serving the community in wonderful ways. So thank you, and thanks be to God for standing on the promises. And now let's talk about extending the promises. We're asking you to extend the current Standing on the Promises level of giving for 18 months. We're inviting recent and new members to join us in this effort. Our goal is $2.1 million, just a third of the original $6.2 million for Standing on the Promises, and just half of that $4.2 million infrastructure project. So you might ask why? Why now? Is this a good time? Well, the time is now, we believe. The Finn edition is 25 years old. That's basically the east half of the main building. The atrium is a part of that. The classrooms on floors 1 to 3 for ministries of child care and Sunday school and youth and adults. That's all a part of the Finn edition. And of course, Finn Hall, which is used extensively, and there are several projects related to that. So, we do recognize, of course, that many have given faithfully now for 3 years, and that we're wrapping that up by April 30th. And we realize there is some uncertainty out there about economics, about changing generations, about changes that have come due to COVID or disaffiliating, and the changing political landscape. We also recognize that some may think Standing on the Promises did everything. Well, I think we knew that wasn't the case, and we always have a little bit more to do. But we did all we could then with the headwinds of COVID and United Methodist Church debating an issue, and I was early in my pastor's tenure here, and so we fit the project to what was feasible and what was pledged. We fit the project to what was pledged, and we stayed within the budget. The cost of the required additional fire code work, which was quite a bit, limited to some degree the number of projects that we were able to complete. And we did what we said we would do. Leadership adjusted projects to stay within budget, and committed members like you have given faithfully so that the pledges are on target to satisfy the cost. And together we have been standing true to the promises and completing that work. So now, together, we believe, our leadership believes, that extending the promises is our calling. When I was in seminary, one of my professors told us one day that need plus proximity equals call. If there's a need and you're close to it, you're called. Well, McFarlin has some needs, and we are close to that, both in time and space and in our hearts, and so we are called. We are called to do now what advances the long-term vitality and effectiveness of McFarlin. The God who values second-mile effort, as Jesus taught, is in this moment of history with us, calling us, I believe, to this second-mile initiative. So we believe God is beckoning and that there are signs of hope. Indications are that the secularizing trend is slowing and people are seeking meaning and community, and McFarlin is a place they can find that. And those most homogeneous with our current McFarlin population are more likely to engage in church, and that's promising for McFarlin. And Norman is growing and slated to grow exponentially over the next few decades, and we are adding new, younger families already. Over the last 4 years, for example, 113 have professed faith and joined McFarlin. 125 have transferred membership here. 88 of those have been baptized. And our worship attendance has continued to recover from the pandemic. And then 113 new financial commitments have been added in the last 4 years. And this year, we have 19 eighth graders enrolled in confirmation class. What a joy. I recently taught that class, and it's great to see those young persons coming towards McFarlin, being a part of McFarlin, and checking out faith. And now, this moment is underscored by some extra good news. You may have heard this already, of course, but it's a generosity that's parallel to and in sync with the Extending the Promises campaign. The same donor who made the Mission Center possible, providing $2 million for the Standing on the Promises campaign, so that we can meet that goal, that person has now pledged an unsolicited donation of about $750,000, $750,000 toward the elevator and the second floor in the Mission Center to make it ready for the next step. To be clear, the extra good news gift of $750,000 for the Mission Center second floor is parallel and in sync with, but it does not apply to the $2.1 million goal of Extending the Promises. What needs doing? What are the projects? Well, we have some necessary home repairs, some vital upgrades that we need to carry forward so that they can carry forward our momentum. And we're talking about extending the promises as a way of advancing McFarlin's vitality right here at the start in the first year of a new century. So generally, the upkeep of our beautiful, well-used, and large church campus calls for keeping up. So we have 3 priority levels. First, priority 1 level, immediate needs, which totals about $1.3 million. And much of this is in our 2001 Finn edition, the east wing of the main building. And the first thing that we have is the fresh air units at a price tag of about $345,000. Now you can see from the pictures we have that there are stains on ceiling tiles and rust on ceiling grills, and there's damage up above the ceiling in the mechanisms of the old fresh air units installed about 25 years ago. And so we're having a moisture problem, and we want to take care of that as quickly as we can. This is a project that we removed from the Standing on the Promises campaign because we wanted to stay within budget on that campaign at that point in time in history. And so this is one of the things that is before us. The 2001 Finn edition also needs an LED video wall and a lighting upgrade. Now this is very important because one of the ways that we keep the vitality and the longevity of the church going is by taking care of things that are demanding infrastructure issues, repairs. But we also need to do what it takes to continue to grow the church. And this is one of those things. I'm going to ask Pastor Trey Witzel, who is the preacher for the modern worship service, to step in and talk about this LED wall and the lighting that goes along with it.
Now imagine with me, you're sitting in Gaylord Memorial Stadium watching Baker Mayfield play for your beloved OU Sooners. He drops back, throws a beautiful pass to the back of the end zone, and Mark Andrews goes up, brings it down, completes the catch, but the refs are unsure if he got a foot down. They go and they begin to talk to discern to see if he completed the catch. And what do? Do you turn your head north to the small end zone scoreboard, or do you turn your head south with everyone else in the stadium, looking at OU's brand new large LED scoreboard that you can see he completed the catch, touchdown, OU. We all know what an improved visual experience can do for football games, for sporting events, for the new Norman Public School Arts Center that they just opened up. We are visual creatures, and it's time, after 25 years, to upgrade the visual lights and experience in Finn Hall. Now, some of you may be asking, why an LED wall? Why new lights? Don't the TVs and projectors work just fine? And for 25 years, the setup in there has been remarkable. It has been faithful, and it has lasted. But now our expectations have grown. Imagine going into the sanctuary one day and there not being an organ, but just a piano. Certainly a piano could play those same hymns, could help you sing those same songs, but it'd feel different without an organ. Now, we don't have an organ in Finn Hall, but it is the visual experience that aids in people growing closer to God as they worship. This LED wall, the new lights, will provide a standard upgrade that we, along with all the other large modern worshiping churches in Norman, would be on the same plane, would be on the same playing field, the same level. You know, often I will drive south through campus going home after picking up my daughters from school, and often find myself stopped at the stoplight right next to the brand new Love softball field. And I'll find myself looking at their beautiful Oklahoma-shaped scoreboard, checking to see if our Sooners are winning. Even if you don't worship in Finn Hall or in modern worship, so many of us use Finn Hall each and every week. From students in our children's choir to our youth on Wednesday nights to our bonus years who have monthly presentations to all the various UWF and other dinners we have in there, this video wall will be for you as well. Now, those TVs, if they were sitting in your living room, would be quite large, but how many of you have been seated in the back or on the sides of Finn Hall, not quite sure what is on that screen? This video wall will enhance your discipleship, will enhance your experiences throughout the week, not just on Sunday mornings. We're excited for the capabilities for VBS, for movie nights, for being able to rent out Finn Hall, to create a little additional revenue to continue to support the ministries of this church. And so I am so thankful that this video and light upgrade has been included in extending the promises, and I'm eternally grateful for your faithfulness in supporting McFarlin as we change lives that change the world.
Thank you, Pastor Trey. Now, a few more things in the priority 1 tier, immediate needs. There is exterior caulking to be done, again, to prevent deterioration. There is the Finn Hall bathroom major repair project that needs to be done. Those bathrooms, restrooms are used constantly, and we know that the drains and the floors go down into the dirt and stop. They don't hook to plumbing. So that is something that happened years ago, and we need to fix that as well. And then we need to, at some point, replace the exterior doors, which stick open and need repairs, costly repairs sometimes, and then sometimes become a security issue because they do stick open. And so we want to replace those as well and need to do that. Priority 1 also has a few other things. One is parking lots. The east and the south parking lot need repairs and restriping to prevent deterioration. And then there are masonry repairs to be done as well. And then the first floor children heat and air conditioning in 5 rooms on the first floor of the historic older building needs real attention and needs that quite soon. And then we have new interior signage that really would be good and nice and helpful to our guests as they come in and try to find their way around this large church. Now, priority 2 has a price tag of about $65,000, and that includes a Finn Hall storage expansion and also the west parking lot, our largest parking lot, for a reseal and restripe. And then priority 3 totals about $770,000, and that is the Finn Hall addition elevators needing mechanical refurbishment. It's like if you have a car and you need a new engine in the car because it's aged out. Well, the major mechanisms for these elevators is aging out, and we need to plan to replace those. The Finn Hall heating and air conditioning system is something that has not always been reliable in terms of keeping the temperature constant in there, or keeping it cool enough or warm enough on days when it's challenging. And so that's something that's coming at some point. Again, Finn Hall is about 25 years old. And then there's the sanctuary balcony heating and air conditioning, which is probably the last of our priorities, but it was taken out of the Standing on the Promises campaign so that we could stay within budget and feasibility on that campaign. Now, you may be wondering, in terms of raising $2.1 million, what about debt? Well, we will again avoid large long-term debt. We will plan to pay as we go with the option of short-term funding loans, perhaps based on pledges that are viable. We know that are coming in to satisfy that. And then what about overhead? Well, in this case, we have 15 smaller projects lined out, and we believe that we won't need construction management overhead costs, that we can lean upon our Senior Director of Operations, Stephen Mitchell, and upon our building team and trustees and experts who reside in the church to oversee and be sure that these things are done well. So you might be asking then, will this effort fix everything for a long time? Well, let me reflect on that. You know, homeowners know that keeping everything fixed and up to date is an evolving experience over time, and we know that. And as stewards of this home of faith, we know the same thing. This effort, of course, is designed to take care of urgent and immediate needs according to 3 priority tiers and according to criteria that we've established. Of course, just like in our homes, there will be more needs down the road at some point to add to what we do as time unfolds. And future needs will determine the timing and the size of additional projects whenever that comes. And you know that in a campus of this size and nature and scope and age, keeping up with upkeep is, well, in some ways, is just part of our life together. So it's wise that we are always looking ahead to stay ahead. And then let me say that these 15 projects are selected to assure continued vital ministry here at McFarlin for this community and beyond. The choice of the projects, their estimated costs, and their sequencing comes out of the faithful work of our elected trustees, our Senior Director of Operations, Stephen Mitchell, and our expert retired engineer who steered the Standing on the Promises campaign and knows this facility very well, and that's Rod Foster. Also, as in all multi-project church capital initiatives like Standing on the Promises and like this Extending the Promises effort, we do our very best to estimate costs and expected completion dates. Still, at the same time, we all know that sometimes costs change and unforeseen realities arise. So final designs and bids and costs will affect precisely how many and which of these we accomplish. And we pledge to you that we will work hard to be transparent and proceed with integrity in keeping you informed of any necessary substantial changes during the implementation phase. And our trustees I want you to know this. Our trustees are intentionally strategizing and have taken steps, real steps, for preventative maintenance to move in that direction, trying to avoid the accumulation of future mechanical upgrades and replacements, such as these 15 projects. Now, we can't avoid everything, of course, but we're working on that effort. And then, with attention to the growth of our endowment in the McFarlin Foundation, in the future, many facility and capital needs can eventually be funded by the proceeds of the foundation when it reaches that level of capacity. And so we celebrate the work of the McFarlin Foundation on behalf of our church. So the upkeep of our beautiful, well-used, and large church campus calls for keeping up so that we are keeping faith with changing lives that change the world at the start of a new next century. So let me summarize again. We are proposing to extend the current Standing on the Promises giving for 18 months. And we're inviting not only those who've been giving, those of us who've been a part of that campaign, but recent and new members to join us in this effort. And if you're a recent or new member, we do have some copies of the original Standing on the Promises book, and you might want to get a copy of that. We're glad to provide it and see what that was all about. Now, we've identified 15 projects. The goal is $2.1 million, and the start date for this is June the 1st, 2025. The current Standing on the Promises campaign giving officially ends April 30th. Most will have completed by that date. And then we, a month later, look at starting this. The Commitment Sunday is May the 4th. So, extending the promises, the start of a new century, is before us. And you can go to our website, McFarlinUMC.org/promises, and find more information. In fact, you can find there a link that will give you a PDF copy of the brochure. You'll find a link there that will give you a PDF copy or take you to the giving page so that you can complete a commitment card. And we're looking forward to what happens then on May 4th, 2025. So what am I asking you to do? What am I asking you to do? First, begin to discern prayerfully your role in extending the promises, and wait for the May 4th Commitment Sunday. We need some time, all of us, to think about and pray about and let the Spirit do a work in our lives as we think about how we can help advance McFarlin into the future here at the start of a new century. And speak positively with others and groups about this opportunity as much as you can, and whenever you have opportunity. And if you have questions about it, please contact me. I'm glad to sit down with you to find a time to meet and talk with you. I'd love to hear your questions, your insights, so please contact me at the church or in any way that you can, and I'm glad to do that. So with each of us praying and listening and expecting and trusting that, as we found in the scripture back when we launched Standing on the Promises, trusting that in Jesus Christ, every one of God's promises is a yes. And for this reason, it is through Christ that we say the Amen to the glory of God. We say yes ourselves. And so for everything that has been, thanks. And for all that will be, yes, I am inviting you to say yes. Thank you very much.